Cowboys Mike McCarthy discussed the key shift that has gotten the Cowboys back into the win column and that might just end up saving his job. What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Prime Time. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, and catching up with you Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays with quick-hitting videos such as this one. We've been talking about the Cowboys stringing together a couple of consecutive wins over the last couple of days. On Sunday, we talked about the biggest reason why the Cowboys were winning games. That was the Cowboys pass rush being back at the level that it is. We were talking about on yesterday, on Monday, we talked about another 5 big question marks that will determine whether or not the Cowboys keep this winning streak going. And I know streak might sound like an overstatement, but literally it is. It's 2 wins in a row. And after an 0-5 run, it feels good to be able to say that. So we'll continue to say it here on Primetime. But I was listening to McCarthy's presser on Monday, and I totally concluded that, hey, I missed something on that list when I was going over the questions that will determine whether or not the Cowboys will keep on winning ball games. And that was, will the turnover ratio continue to be as high as it's been? Because for the season, the Cowboys are at -7. They've given the ball away 7 more times than they have taken it away themselves. That is 24th in the NFL. One of the worst teams in the league at it, bottom 12. But over the last couple of weeks, they are +4. That would rank top 10 in the NFL. They're taking the ball away and they're taking care of it as well. Here's what Mike McCarthy had to say about this key shift that, again, I'll say it, it's been keeping them alive, and it might keep McCarthy's job safe if it keeps going. Here's what he had to say.
Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Yeah, I talked about the turnover ratio. It's not to your liking, but it seems as if during this win streak, you are getting the turnovers. Your thoughts about what the defense is doing?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, we're +4 the last 2 weeks, and obviously had turnovers also, or takeaways also in the Houston game. So, yeah, we got to keep that 0 on the board as far as taking care of the football, as far as the giveaways. That's very, very important. Something we've been emphasizing more than ever, and definitely we'll need it this week against Cincinnati. But yeah, we need to continue to build off of what we've done. It's just like anything else. It's, the more takeaways you get is really clearly is based off putting yourself in position. So we're putting ourselves in better position, proper angles, gang tackling, second guy in, all the key coaching points to the takeaway opportunities. So I think our guys have done a really nice job recognizing that and in really getting it to game time, which is where it really matters.
That's an interesting few comments there from Mike McCarthy that I would break down into 2. Number 1 is, and this is the obvious one, they're keeping the ball to themselves in the sense that Cooper Rush is not fumbling out there every chance that he gets, which has been an issue for the Cowboys before with Cooper Rush at a quarterback, even this very season, right? But they're also not asking Cooper Rush to do a whole lot. I don't think it is a coincidence that the last couple of games where the Cowboys offense has looked much cleaner, they also happen to be the couple of games where Rico Dowdle is averaging 20 carries per game. Now, it obviously also has to do with the fact that the Cowboys are in these games late in the second half, right, where running is still an option for them. But I think the Cowboys have run the ball efficiently. They're leaning on Rico Dowdle a little bit more over the last couple of weeks, and that obviously takes off some pressure of Cooper Rush. But also, his offensive line is taking care of him, and the game plans are also doing that. We talked about this yesterday, but for those of you who missed it, Cooper Rush has had a 15% pressure rate over the last couple of games. That would rank dead last in the NFL. He's not being pressured at all. That has to do with the fact that the offensive line is playing better. Particularly, I would point to those in the interior. Cooper Beebe's doing his thing in pass pro, not letting any pressures. Brock Hoffman has been close to perfect in pass pro over the last couple of weeks. And Tyler Smith is playing some of his best football this season as well. The tackles might still be an issue, but the Cowboys are dealing with that with the game plan. If you look at Cooper Rush's time to throw, on average, He is at around 2.80 something. That is the fastest time to throw in the NFL as well for the season among qualifying quarterbacks. And you can see that on film. You can see that on game days. The Cowboys, they want to throw screens. They want to get rid of the football quickly. They want to make life easy on Cooper Rush. So far, it is paying off. It's not like Cooper Rush is throwing bombs every single snap, and his average depth of target is actually pretty low. Surprisingly, if you look at the numbers, it is higher than Dak's. I think that has to do with the fact that since the Cowboys know that they need to make life easy on Cooper Rush, there's also a lot of shot plays on the game plan, right? A lot of play action behind max protection, 7 blockers or something, and they try to manufacture some explosives with those throws downfield. Whereas with Dak, since he played so many more dropbacks, there were a lot of quick passes just to get him through a lot of these games behind that offensive line that he was playing behind. So I think overall the Cowboys are doing a good job with the game plans, making life easy on Cooper Rush and avoiding those turnovers that way. However, there's a second part to this equation, and that is the fact that the Cowboys are taking it away. Think about the interceptions. Think about the fumbles. Think about DeMarvin Overshown doing it all by himself whenever he feels like it with that pick 6 versus the Giants, which was impressive as heck. But the Cowboys, and I was thinking about this, what changed for Dallas to the point where they can also take the ball away? And I think there are 2 big things to point out. Number one, the fact that Micah is back, and we've talked about this, has enabled Dallas to rush the passer like they hadn't really this season. Because even early on in the year, with Micah on the field, they weren't able to flex their pass rushing muscles because they were getting destroyed in the run game. And as such, offenses were not even dropping back to pass. Think about that Lamar Jackson game. Lamar didn't even drop back 20 times. Derek Carr didn't drop back 20 times. And they blew out the Cowboys because they just had their way when they were running the ball. With that in mind, I think that the fact that the Cowboys have been playing closer games has allowed them to rush the passer more often. And that just really creates a lot of turnover opportunities because you get the strip sacks, you get the decision making from the quarterbacks all messed up because they're running for their lives. So that is the big thing there. But I also think that if you look closely at the Cowboys defense, and I will admit, I don't have the numbers for this yet, but this is something that I will look into later in the week when Sports Info Solutions has their coverage breakdowns a little bit updated for the week. But I've seen that the Cowboys, and you will agree with me, I think, if you watched film or if you watch these games closely, they're doing a lot of more single high coverages. They're loathing the box a little bit more, right? They're doing their thing where they will use their double A gap blitz looks, and sometimes they won't rush the passer, but they'll bring the linebackers to the line of scrimmage. But Donovan Wilson will also be roaming around the box, right? And they're doing a lot of more single high coverage to the point where this looks a lot like a Dan Quinn type defense. And with Zimmer, the thing always was that he was going to be much more versatile. And he was going to open up some opportunities for the Cowboys to get into 2 high coverages, which with Dan Quinn, you rarely saw. Even on 3rd and long situations, you saw more cover 1 and cover 3. I bring this up to say that Zimmer bringing in versatility was perceived to be a potential strength and even upgrade with the Mike Zimmer defense, but it wasn't quite working out for them early on in the year. Now I think this is basically a Dan Quinn looking defense with a little bit more A-gap looks, double A-gap looks that you always see with Mike Zimmer. And I don't know if it's that Cowboys players already feel comfortable in that scheme or if it's just the fact that with Micah back and Osa playing at the level that he is and Lawson and Goldston emerging as these quality defensive ends, maybe it just looks good right now. Or maybe it's also the fact that you have not faced an offense that will really challenge you if you get into these looks, right? Because the Cowboys have not faced a Shanahan-style offense really in a good while. I think the last would be the Texans, and they ran the ball on you pretty efficiently still. This is to say that if the Cowboys were to face say the Lions again, or the Niners even again, with all of their problems that they've been dealing with, or say the Falcons, I still think some of these problems would pop right back up. I still think the Cowboys would have some issues dealing with the wide zone runs, the outside runs. But now they've gotten into this position where they're staying in the game, and as such, they can get away with doing a lot of cover three, a lot of cover one looks, and they can just really load the box, ask their cornerbacks to play man coverage, which they really have as of late. But I think it's a mix of all of that. I think the opponents that the Cowboys have faced have been easier to deal with. And from those looks, defensive looks, and also the fact that the pass rush is back at the level that it is. Moving forward, obviously having Trevon Diggs back, which is not official yet, but he's going to be questionable for the week in all likelihood. Having Diggs back will allow you to play a lot more man coverage because you will have the Ron Bland, Trevon Diggs, Jordan Lewis. That's a group of cornerbacks that you can play man coverage with and be comfortable, even though I know that some people will have a lot to say about, say, Trevon's tackling. That's still a unit that he can do this with. So obviously this is massive. The Cowboys are taking the ball away a little bit more often. I think that ties directly with the fact that they're running this type of defense. And offensively, they're making life easy on Cooper Rush. As long as they can run with Rico Dowdle and keep this balanced, easy offense going, I would expect that to continue to be the case. Big game coming up on Monday Night Football versus the Bengals. We'll talk more about it on Thursday because, by the way, no show tomorrow because I will be moving. So I'm taking Wednesday off to get that done. And next time that I talk to you, I'll be at a brand new studio for me. So that's going to be fun. Hope you like the video. And as always, hit the like button for me. I'll see you on Thursday, live, 8 p.m. Bye-bye.